Time for coffee. So that was a composition by Jason Fraticelli. So the theme for today, when the Kimmel Center first asked me to do this, they said it was about minimalism. So I came into it thinking I was going to talk about minimalism and stuff that was very dry and boring. But then until I realized that the theme was minimal, which is a very different thing. And so everybody here is in like the creative arts field to some extent. Are there any musicians here? Awesome. How many people are in visual arts? Okay, how about fine arts? Graphic design? Anything like that? How about video? Okay. I was going to say film, but I guess that's the same thing, right? Cool. Anybody that I miss? Like, did I miss it? Dance? All right, writers. All right, cool. Just trying to get an idea of like kind of what the cross section is. Because for me, when it comes to the term minimal, there's obviously a large breadth of different styles that are kind of related to this idea of paring down. How many times have you heard that? Probably a bunch, especially if you have a little kid that is practicing piano right now. Or they're doing, that would be if they're singing, right? Because then they're in the choir, and you have to do that if you're in the church choir, right? Your choir director makes you sing that, and you go up to into the higher register so you warm up your voice, right? But those things are the building blocks of what music are and what music is. And everything that you create, the melody, like When the Saints Go Marching In, is basically somebody's version of that. So when you take that melody, what Philip Glass would do, he would do this. It's still there, but it's implied in your head, in your brain. Let's do like a chorus of it. I'll do it playing it the original melody, and then we'll do it like if Philip Glass was a trumpet player. Right? 1, 2, telling himself to do two things. You know, he can only do two notes that work on this entire spectrum and building a piece over it. Now, there was one guy I wanted to talk about, but I can't do it because I gotta have stereo, and I don't have stereo, so I'll move on past that. So Philip Glass, yeah. Now probably the most blown up idea of that, where you take the most minimal piece that you possibly can, is by a really famous classical composer named John Cage. Anybody familiar with the piece 4 minutes and 33 seconds? Who's not familiar with the piece 4 minutes and 33 seconds? Perfect. We're going to play an excerpt of that for you. And everybody who knows it is probably laughing right now. All right. Ready? Small excerpt from 4 minutes, 33 seconds by John Cage. I think that's enough to get the point. But again, it defines what is music. What that piece was 4 people laughing. It was somebody shuffling with their coffee cup. It was, the hum of the bass that's on. It was the sound of the subway going by, which I didn't hear, but if we did, that'd been cool. But it gives a complete different context, and it allows your ears to work in ways that you might notice things that you wouldn't know because you're now attentive to it. And to me, that's the extreme of it. But going back to this artist, Brian Eno, what Brian Eno does is he creates soundscapes and different types of sounds that give you a bed where it kind of sits here, and everything else that you bring to it is the action. And it's this idea of context without action, and having something that creates a kind of hypnotic space for your imagination to wander and discover whatever you want to discover within it. I mean, I think that's an interesting thing with minimalism across all different arts that you see, especially a lot of minimalistic art or minimalistic films, things like that. There are things that aren't very obvious and kind of give you a chance to really kind of understand. I think a lot of modern Swiss minimal design is kind of like that too, where it's they give you this idea that's very clean, and it's really whatever your interpretation of it. It's not hammering you over the head with what your idea of it is, which kind of makes our job easier, because you don't have to actually give somebody a reason for what you're doing. What it is that you're allowing them to take whatever they want to from it. And minimalism at least minimal music is perfect for that very reason. Now Brian Eno did a couple of different things. He did this one record called Ambient Music, and it's called Music for Airports, because he was hanging out in an airport, and he realized that the music at the airport kind of sucked. He was just like, this is terrible. I could make music better than this. This should be a place for people in airports to hang out and be comfortable. So with this, talking about different techniques, one thing that they do is they'll take a little clip of something, a piece of music, and loop it in different ways, so that you're only working with this much music. But if you can layer it in different ways, it creates a complete picture that it might not be something you meant to do, it might be improvised, but it's something that will create a sonic texture that you would not have been able to do otherwise if you were trying to chart something out and really create a finished Sistine Chapel picture, right? I'll play a little bit of this, and I can talk over this, that's why it's good. The 9 p.m. from LAX is arriving at Terminal B. So Brian Eno, on top of being a pioneer in ambient music, was also, he wrote these, he did this record called Music for Films. And he was interested, like I said earlier, with this idea of music for films as being context without action. And listening to film music kind of gives you the space for your creativity to kind of picture in your mind what you think is going on. And so therefore, a lot of the film music that has come out in the past 30 or so years has been really influenced by people like Brian Eno, where it's there's space for action to happen over top of it. And probably one of the most famous partnerships between a director and a musician on this front is a great director by the name of Errol Morris. Are you guys anybody not familiar with Errol Morris? Okay, great documentary filmmaker. He did a film called The Thin Blue Line, was one of his, I guess that was his breakout film. He did one recently called Fog of War, which I really enjoyed. And they worked really well together. And so I'm gonna play you a little example of that. This is from The Thin Blue Line, and it's a bit of music with dialogue from the film over it. So you'll see how the music kind of complements the dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Basically keeps that same idea going the entire time. This idea of what I was just talking about. To some extent, it kind of becomes a joke because you can just do that and sound like Philip Glass. But in reality, it creates a type of emotion and a type of thing that's very specific to the type of films that these two made together. Now, that's just a little bit about what that is and like kind of the influences that I see within our music that come from that. It's kind of hard to escape people like Philip Glass and Brian Eno. Kind of permeates what we do as musicians and what the sonic soundscape. I mean, I've been recently I did a score for a film with my friend Dave Janetta, who's actually here, and we started working on this documentary called Love and Terror on the Howling Plains of Nowhere, and I had never scored a film before. It was really interesting, and I did checked out a lot of different people, listened to a lot of people, talked to a lot of people in the industry, and one of the most interesting articles I read was by the great film composer Danny Elfman, who wrote The Simpsons theme song and Beetlejuice and Batman and a lot of awesome music that we all kind of grew up with. Pee-wee's Great Adventure. Just to give you a little backstory about this film, one of the main parts of it is that there's a professor who comes to this town in Nebraska and he disappears. And without giving it away, we're not really sure if this is what's going on in his mind, and we're trying to understand whether if he's conflicted or not. Now, in music, there's easy ways to convey emotions, and the easiest ones are with two chords. The first one is major, right? Sounds very happy. I feel like the children are coming home. Why not? Yeah. Very happy. Now, all we do is change one note. And now I'm Beethoven, I'm pissed off. And now I'm Chopin, and I'm happy. In Polish. And now I'm German again. Two easy ways that you can convey emotion in anything is by major, which is sunny and happy, and minor, which is dark and brooding. So what I decided was to have a play between major and minor to create something that you don't really know where he's going to be. And this is it. Using very minimalistic techniques. It's only a synthesizer, some strings, and a piano. Now what's interesting with this is that this is a theme. Now most themes or most melodies are something that you can remember and sing back, but I think you would find it pretty hard to sing something like this back to me because there is no theme, there's no action, there's just context. There's a place for us to rest and there's a place for us to kind of understand the feeling of what's happening, but not being bluntly stated to where it is. So as far as that's how we as musicians bring that into our compositional techniques. Another way is by writing music, and I have to say the master of writing minimally is Mr. Anwar Marshall on the drums. And yeah, you can clap for that, sure, why not? And why don't you just show them the music to this piece.
So our group, I'll use the mic. Our group. Huh? Oh yeah, where is the CD? Oh, yeah. So our group, the Fresh Cut Orchestra, this is our forthcoming record. It's called From the Vine, and features several selections written by the three of us. And I guess it was interesting. It was very interesting to put the record together, you know, and just the different, all of our different ideas on how we wrote our different pieces. And the piece that of mine that is on the record is called Sanguine, and it's 14 bars long, and it looks like this. Very short, especially for a large ensemble jazz piece.
Show 'em the back.
Oh yeah. So this is here's the electric guitar part. See how short that is. You know, and here's one of the saxophone parts, or yeah, saxophone part. Very, very short. And this is how it turned out.
Oh, Marshall. This idea of using very little material to generate all your different ideas, giving yourselves constrictions, giving yourselves, what, 16 bars? 14 lines of code to say what you're going to say in whatever you're doing. One paragraph, writing a short story, haiku, you know, things like this can really help you spark what your next thought is going to be if you're giving yourself some limitations. Because it's just so easy to say, I'm going to do everything I possibly can. But people get bored with that really quick, and you'll get bored with it too. Another tune from that record was a tune by Jason Fraticelli, which uses another device, which is repetition. And repeating something is always the easiest way to get the most out of it. So this piece that he wrote, do you want to talk about it, or?
Yeah, let's play it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a very simple theme built on 2 ideas, right?
That's right.
All right. So let's do it. Just right on it?
Yeah.
2 ideas. What did it do after that? Now here it changes. It gets tricky. Exactly. creates an emotion with you, creates an emotion that you can connect with everybody. If you repeat something, it makes it easier for people to remember it. If you repeat something, it makes it easier for people to remember it. My man. I was waiting for the yeah. Yeah, so I think that's about all we can say about this. But I think I think what we're gonna do is like play another tune, and this is another great example of like using very small bits of information to create something. So this is gonna be our last statement, and I think that's really what I'm trying to say. No matter what you do, no matter what we all do, we're all trying to be the best at what we're trying to be, and they were doing it 100 years ago with a lot less than we are now, and sometimes a lot of the advances and the technology that we have, even though it's great, sometimes it can hinder us. And sometimes if you can just like kind of step back and use the technology that we have, like maybe somebody 100 years ago would do, it might give you more creative ways of looking at things. Because you can always learn from the past, and that's really what it comes down to. So this last tune is called Ostinato, and it's based on 2 notes that repeat over and over and over again. And you can make a lot of music out of 2 notes. This is it, Ostinato. Once again, Jason Fraticelli on the bass. And Anwar Marshall on the drums. Yeah. Cool. Thanks so much.